Welcome to the final individual assignment for AFC 3540 in Semester 1 2009. This assignment is an amalgam of the weekly spreadsheets that you completed earlier in the semester, in particular week 4, and where you looked at the calculation of the variance-covariance matrix, and week 6, where you estimated the beta and the security market line. What is different about this assignment is that you actually are given the pricing information corresponding to your weekly group assignment. And what this will do is give you the ability to implement your weekly group assignment using the technology of the capital asset pricing model that I've taught you in spreadsheets this semester. Using this implementation, you'll be able to compare and contrast the weights that you initially invested in using your group assignment from the bottom up and top down approaches in week 4 with what the theory of the CAPM tells you you should have invested. And so that'll be very interesting. And it will really combine the pairs assignment, the group top-down assignment, and the weekly spreadsheet work that you've been doing in the subject. So, I give you the pricing data as you can see. And what you're required to do is insert your initial weights when you first began the assignment in the blue here. And you need to check that your weights, first of all, add up to 100, and you can see them here, that you get one share and only one share in each of the sectors, and that each of the 3 sectors are actually used. So, for example, at the moment I've got 30% in BHP and 0 in Rio. If I made this 0, you would see that the total weight is only 70%, and not all of the 3 sectors are utilised. So, that's just a check for you there. The areas in the pink are calculated for you by the spreadsheet. Here, here, and over here. And you don't have to worry about implementing them. That's done for you. But briefly, what this does is it transforms the information that you've provided in the blue and converts it into a mining, a staples, and a banking sector, which makes it generic for all potential combinations and permutations of investments that different people have made. The column F31 to 41 uses the information here in row 25, C25 to E25 to calculate your historical returns for your portfolio. And then this information in C49 to E49 calculates your historical returns. So all of that's calculated for you. You don't have to worry about any of that. In problem B, in the blue, that's where you have to do your initial calculations, and you have to calculate your excess return matrix. And once again, you've seen that before, and I'm going to let you do that on your own. The transpose of the excess matrix you've done before, and in problem C, and you're going to do that on your own. And here, you have to calculate the variance-covariance matrix, and remember that's the transposed by the excess matrix, but remember you have to divide by the number of weeks, problem D. Once you've done that, the pink is calculated for you automatically. That gives you your portfolio's expected return in cell C143 and your standard deviation in cells C144. Then in problem E, you calculate your mean minus the constant. The constant, of course, is 0 to begin with, and then the mean minus the constant here, and the constant in F148 is calculated for you. You don't have to worry about it. Once you've found that, you find your weights using the technology I've introduced to find your envelope portfolios X and Y, Then you find your mean, your variance, and your standard deviation for each of those two inverlite portfolios and the covariance between them. And then using the combination of the two-asset portfolio, you find your expected return and expected standard deviation, just like you did in the earlier spreadsheet work. Here we have a data table, and this data table is similar to the one that you saw earlier. What you need to do is you need to set, using GoalSeek, you need to set your standard deviation in the pink here to the standard deviation of your actual portfolio, which is, in this case, 4.35%. To do that, you go into Data, What If Analysis, GoalSeek, and you set this cell, the standard deviation of your portfolio, to 0.0435, which I've already mentioned. It's 5. Type it in by changing the increment cell here. And we get 0.438, close, very close, and close enough for the assignment. And what you can see, of course, is that the mean performance of the optimal CAPM return is actually greater than what I actually obtained for my initial weighting, which tells an interesting story. CAPM was optimal historically, not what I chose. Here's a graph which is calculated for you automatically in problem G. And in problem H, this is where you get to begin to use the week 6 spreadsheet work that you've already done. You calculate the weights from the efficient portfolio, or the optimal portfolio that you just obtained here. Negative 0.4 invested in portfolio envelope portfolio X, and 1.4 invested in envelope portfolio Y, and that corresponds to 71% or almost 72% in mining, almost 85% in staples, and negative 56% in banking. And if I compare my weights from the initial investment that I made all the way up here with the weights that I'm being told I should have invested in using the capital asset pricing model and the technology that I've implemented in the earlier problems, problems A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then you can see that I have a difference, and that tells me that I really was sort of over-invested in the mining and my weight was, I was over-invested in and under-invested. I was under-invested in banking, and over-invested in banking, and under-invested in the others, and that should have been rectified. Not surprisingly, given negative 56%. Then you calculate the new efficient portfolio returns here, just like you did in week 6, and the mean and the beta for all of those stocks, and you should find that you get an R squared now of 100%. And that is it for the individual assignment. Good luck with it.